Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Jay Fatty. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about automation and a bunch of different sauce with that. So let's get right into it. So I got this beat right here. Let's vibe out for a second and listen. Know what I'm saying? That's some vibes right there. It's not mix and master or anything yet because we're going to do some automation stuff to it. So a lot of people, when they mess with automation, they think it's very limited or they don't know all of the stuff that you can do inside of it. One of the things that I really like to do when I'm messing with automation is record it in manually. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. So essentially, I'm going to throw on a gross beat on these chops here. I'm going to go over to the presets and click on it, and let's just go to crank because there's some good ones in here. Like, let's see, basic 10, basic 3. I think that's actually all we're going to use is basic 10 and basic 3. So if we listen to basic 3 here and then click over onto basic 10, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. If we listen. So you can automate multiple different things inside the plugin, all right? And it's very easy if it's already an FL Studio plugin. If it's a third-party plugin, you can do it. There's just a couple extra steps, which we'll get into. But for plugins like Grossbeat or Love Filter or anything else that's a built-in FL Studio effect or plugin, you can do this automation trick for it. So first step we're going to want to do is go up to the recording button right here, right-click it, and make sure automation and notes are on, all right? Automation and notes. So what we're going to want to do is put an empty pattern in the playlist to the length of what we want the automation. We'll just have this go for 8 bars here, all right? And make sure it's empty because you don't want this information to be on a pattern that has other stuff on it, like an audio clip or Midi. It's going to record this automation into this pattern here. So if we go into the gross beat and go back to the recording button, since we already right-clicked and put on notes and automation, we just click that right there to arm it. And now we're going to just record what we did by hitting play. See how we recorded that into that empty pattern there? Now you'll have to double click this and see the area that we wanted is highlighted here. And then it has this area over here that we don't want. If we just click and drag while clicking, we can just bring that all down to none up to the point we want. So something like that. And now also, if you look over here, you can see that it doesn't record the first little bit, but if we take note, we can kind of see what the pattern is like. So we know this first little bit needs to be up here on the graph. So if we just click and drag, now it should be right. If we unarm it up here by clicking the recording button off, we can watch the automation happen inside Grossbeat. The levels that it's at, so like if I brought this up here, like so all of these different spots in the graph, all these different bars are a different preset. All messed up, but you could see how it was changing presets there, so keep that in mind. Now another thing you would have to do with this, if we right click on the black bar up here and drag to highlight the area, we're going to want to also automate the mix knob of Grossbeat because we don't want this to happen always just in the specified area that we put here. So we can go to the mix knob of Grossbeat, bring it down, right click, create automation clip. If we zoom in by using the middle mouse button on this black bar here, we can right click some points in, bring them up to the top, and then click on the tension knob right here and bring it up just like so. Give you a better view of that. You see there's a tension knob. Delete this point. We right click a point in as that tension knob between the other point. So we can kind of just drag it up like so to create that very steep incline. Pretty much like a wall. And we want to do the same thing over here. And this is just going to tell FL Studio that during this part, we only want the gross beat to be on and then it to have this specified automation pattern. All right. Now, if we listen, bring it back a little bit. So with that knowledge, you can create some really dope patterns and unique verses or choruses or stutter effects inside your beats, because gross beat has so many cool effects. Like, for example, I'll tell you some of my favorite effects and some of my favorite presets. So I really love a lot of stuff that they got in the crank presets. And then also Momentary also has a lot of good stuff. That's where you're going to get your half speed, your slow triplet, your vinyl off effects. And then let's see here. Patterns also has some really good stuff. It's all of the same stuff as Crank. Crank might even be my own preset that I saved long ago and I don't remember. Let me know if you have the Crank preset in gross beat. If not, Patterns is where you're going to find all of these crazy different basic patterns as well as complex and some ones that are just complete chaos. And then if you look down here, this also has some really dope effects for the volume. We're not going to go too in depth on it. This isn't a gross beat tutorial, but gross beat's fire, all right? Don't be sleeping on it. Another good one is stutter. This has a lot of really dope stutter effects. And then you also got turntable list. This is where you can get scratch effects. And manipulate it as well. I'm saying you could do this process with any plugin or effect in FL Studio. For example, if we just throw on a Fruity Love filter here, let's go to the presets and let's go to PC low pass plus phaser. We'll bring this knob up a little bit and mess with the resonance and cut off. Actually, let's go to just do a simple low pass. Put another empty pattern here. We can manually just record in some automation of the love filter. So once again, arm the recording up here. Go back into the mixer. Let's go into the love filter and we'll hit play here. And we're going to just mess with the cutoff here. Here, let me move this so you can see it happening real time in that pattern. See, you can record that in there. I'm actually going to undo that because I want to show you something else you can do with this. If you have a MIDI controller, what you can do is you can link these knobs to a knob on your MIDI controller. So if I right click this cutoff, and this is very easy with built-in effects and plugins. So if I right click this cutoff, do link to controller, boom, right there. As long as your controller is plugged in, this remote control settings will pull up, and all you got to do is go on your MIDI controller or MIDI keyboard, whatever that is, and just move one of the knobs or whatever. You can even put it on a slider if you want. It doesn't have to be a knob. If you want to just throw it on a slider or something that moves on your MIDI controller, you can do that. I have some knobs here for this, so I'll just tweak them over here. And as soon as I do that, now you can see that cutoff is moving, and I'm moving the knob on my MIDI keyboard. And there's not any delay or lag. It's real time. At least it seems like it's real time. It doesn't seem like there's any delay at all. So really nice. So you can get that manual humanized recording on that automation. So once again, we're going to arm the recording. It's armed up there, and let's just hit play. Like I said, it's way easier when you have it with one of those knobs instead of just clicking it, because it feels natural just to move it around. So don't be sleeping on that. And once again, we're going to want to highlight the area that we put that in and go onto the Fruity Love filter or whatever effect and automate the mix knob. Bring it down, right click, create automation clip, zoom in, click in some points. Nice with the tension knob, just like so. And FL Studio has those really weird nitpicky things. So like if you accidentally move the point, it'll shift like the whole thing. You just got to shift it back. Or sometimes you might right click a point in the wrong area. Like right click the point over here when you wanted it right here. If you move it, you see it moves this. You just got to drag this back. There's some stuff that's kind of a pain in the butt. But it is what it is. So now this will be automated correctly, and the love filter will only be happening during that part. Now let's talk about another thing with automation. One more thing. We're going to highlight this area, put this little automation on. I threw this slow triplet effect underneath the momentary presets and grow speed. Or to just create an automation clip off of the mix knob instead of, going in here and creating multiple presets in a pattern. We're just going to have this one be automated. So we'll bring the mix knob down, create automation clip, and you can right click and rename it. It's probably actually smarter to rename it before you create the automation clip. So rename it in here, and we'll just call this slow trip. And then right click, create automation clip. You see it names it as what it was named in the mixer. So what you can do is if you right click a new point in and you right click that point, you have a bunch of different options. You can change the mode of that and the way that the automation clip's wave is manipulated or its curve is manipulated. So we could put it on a wave. You see, that's crazy, but if we drag it out, we can get something that's a bit more realistic. And you can mess with the tension knob to go through different ones. You try to go very slowly, you can get what you want here. So we want a big wave like this, and this might not sound good. I'm just trying to demonstrate what you can do with the automation clips. If we listen, doesn't actually sound bad. You see how it just slowly goes in and out of that automation, and you have a bunch of different options. Like I said, you could choose a pulse even, which is kind of like a sawtooth waveform. Mind the different options you got there. Now another thing, if you're trying to delete automation clips, for example, if you go over here to this spot right next to the browser, you can click on this part right here, which is the area where the automation clips are. And if we right click and delete the slow triplet, but we look here and we delete the slow triplet as well in the mixer, and then we try to bring the mix knob up and play it, just brings it down to 0. It acts like there's still an automation. So what you actually have to do is you go to project, initialize control, and you got to delete the initialize control in here, or what you did. It's weird. It's weird how it's linked up. It's just the way FL Studio is. So it's slot 2 right here. If I wouldn't have deleted it, it would have been called whatever I had named it there, the slow trip. We can delete the event now, reset that mix knob, and now if we play it, you can see it doesn't get affected anymore. Now to automate third-party plugins, it's pretty much the same exact process, except there's a couple steps in front of all the other steps. So for example, if I just threw on Halftime by Cable Guys, or any other effect that has a mix knob, you could just automate the mix knob and be fine. Like for example, put this on quarter loop 1.5x and listen. You could just automate this and bring it in and out and be fine. But if we want to automate specific stuff inside the actual effect, since it's a third-party effect, we can't just right-click on something and have it automatically be able to link to controller or whatever. But we can if we click on this button right here on FL Studio. This is the multi-link to controller button, but you can also create automation clips from this. For example, if we just wanted to create an automation clip of the band right here, we wanted to go back and forth like this. Like if we listen, this might actually sound better on chops instead of the drums too. Let's listen now. to do something like that, what we can do is we're going to put in an empty pattern, all right? So we'll just do a pattern 9 here or pattern 8, empty pattern, and drag it out. And we're going to want to click on this button right here, the multi-link to controllers. Go back into that halftime. And now all we're going to want to do is just tweak something or tweak whatever we're trying to automate inside this halftime. So this slider I want to automate, if I just move it, up here, it noticed what I was trying to do there. So I can right click this and it's going to have that parameter I just tweaked selected. And I'm going to do link to controller, or I can create an automation clip right here out of it and manipulate it manually with the points. But I actually want to do this with a slider on my MIDI keyboard. So I can do link to controller, and then on the MIDI keyboard, I'll just link it to a slider. Boom, just like so. Now I have this ready to be automated, just like the previous steps. Make sure it's armed up here. Make sure notes and automation is on. So now it's automated. You look, you can see that it has the information recorded in that pattern there. Play it. That's pretty much how it works for every third-party plugin. There are some exceptions like Omnisphere. If you use Omnisphere, let's just pull that up and mess with it. So I got Omnisphere here and I just threw in this A minor 7th chord. I got the Champagne E piano preset, which is a part of Keyscape Creative. So if you have Keyscape and Omnisphere, you can use this preset. It sounds really good. But what I want to do is automate the cutoff. So if we listen, I want to do something like that. But if we do that same process as before, we click this on and then tweak this, FL Studio isn't recognizing it. Now, there's a reason why. You got to right click, and this is only in Omnisphere. This is in Keyscape as well, and it might be in other third-party plugins, but I've only noticed it with Omnisphere and Keyscape. So you got to right click this and do enable host automation. That will allow it to be ID'd or identified by FL Studio. So once again, we click this and we drag the cutoff. Boom. Up there, it noticed it. Same thing, right click. I'm going to link it to controller and link it to slider here. And see, now it is linked up and we can do what we wanted. We can record that in. So yeah, you can get some serious sauce, all right? Now, I hope I covered all of the questions about automation that you had. If you have any other questions, though, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate all the support. If you need some free melodies or free samples to chop up in FL Studio, check out the link that's on my channel. I'll also have it linked in the description. The homie DC the Beatmaker and I just dropped the free version of our sample pack called Buffet Boys Light Edition. The Light Edition comes with 5 royalty-free melody compositions, very high quality. They come with stems and chopped versions of those melodies. The official pack will have, I think it's like 18 compositions. I can't remember, but it's a lot of compositions, and that comes out September 28th. But if you go ahead and download this free pack, you'll get added to my email list and you'll get notified right away when the pack is out, as well as a special offer when the pack comes out. So check that out with the link on my channel if you're trying to get some melodies, y'all. Appreciate it. If this video brought you value, make sure you leave a like, hit subscribe, and hit the little bell. I appreciate all the support. Make sure you stay safe out there and always be striving and getting it. Much love, y'all. Peace.